Hi, I'm Hannah, for anyone who doesn't know me. I started this YouTube channel about a year ago and said I was gonna make videos every single day, and that obviously really worked out. I decided to make this video today to talk about things I've been too scared to talk about up until this moment in my life. I've really bottled my emotions and feelings for as long as I can remember, and a lot of stuff has happened to me recently, and I've been pretty open about it. It's been really therapeutic and cathartic, so I thought I'd bring it to YouTube. I'm just gonna wait for the subway to pass. We love living in New York. No, take your time. Today, I'm gonna be talking about my struggles with anxiety, discovering I had depression, and also finding out that I was getting cheated on by my boyfriend. Ex-boyfriend now. Oh, this is gonna be fun. I didn't really know if I wanted to make this video or not. I think I was really nervous because I felt like I had to meet up to some standard, because that's the pressure I think that social media puts on you. But talking about what I've been going through has really been helping me. So that's why I'm doing it, and you never know who these videos will reach. So if it helps one person, that's kind of all I can ask. But it's also helping me. So there we go. Kind of my anxiety and depression getting cheated on all ties together, but I'm gonna start with talking about my struggles with anxiety. I also wanna start this off by saying the point of this video isn't to have people reach out and say they pity me or they're sorry for what I've gone through and whatnot. Yeah, what I went through is pretty horrible. But I really just wanna be as open as I can, because I think there is a weird stigma surrounding mental illness and also being a woman talking about having someone be unfaithful to you. I think in this day and age, it's really scary to talk about this stuff because, especially as a woman, we're made to feel like we're wrong in talking about the ways that we're feeling, and it's easy for someone to basically just look down on us for having any issues. I've had people tell me everything is all in my head, and it's not. So if anything, I want this to start a conversation and to know that you're not alone in what you're going through. Moving on. I realized I had anxiety when I was a senior in college about 3 years ago. It happened when, I was graduating and terrified for what my next step was and whatnot. Anxiety, comes out in very different forms. Mine really centers in my chest, a tightness in my chest, and I have trouble breathing. I had a best friend in college who had panic attacks every single day with her anxiety, so I feel really lucky that I might be on the lower part of the spectrum, but I don't want that to, I don't want to say my anxiety is less important than someone else who deals with it in a more extreme way. It's not, that's not the way that it is. I'm just saying I feel lucky that mine is relatively manageable. It took a lot of time and practice to learn how to cope with my anxiety. I went to therapy. I tried meditation. I tried yoga. A lot of stuff didn't help. But I've gotten to the point in my life where a lot of it's just breathing techniques that I learned how to deal with it. I use these amazing drops called Rescue Remedy. I'll write the name right here. They're incredible, they're natural, they're holistic. I don't know if it's a placebo effect, but it works for me, and I highly, highly recommend trying them. I've also made a lot of Spotify playlists that I know help calm me down when I'm feeling stressed. Realizing I had depression was something I discovered really recently after this whole experience happened. I moved to New York about a year ago to pursue a career in musical theater. I did a show from September to December of last year and thoroughly enjoyed myself. But ever since that ended, I've been really, really unmotivated to continue pursuing that as a career choice. I didn't know why. Doing theater is the greatest thing in my life and makes me happier than anything else. But I just did not have the drive. I would sometimes submit to stuff online, but just had no motivation and didn't really know why. I kind of just pinpointed it as, oh, I'm scared of rejection, because rejection is my biggest fear. I don't know why I chose this career path, but here we are. But until what I went through with my boyfriend cheating on me, I really realized I was depressed. I think it was a mild version of depression, but I had no motivation to do the thing that I loved. I really was okay with going to a job that doesn't fulfill me, and then coming home and watching Netflix. And that's not healthy, especially being in a city that there's so much opportunity, and I didn't want to go out and see that and strive to succeed. Something was wrong. I also think that I really was relying on my boyfriend to be the main source of happiness in my life. I've learned through this relationship and my past relationship that I had that I'm someone who kind of forgets about my friends when I'm in a relationship. Not on purpose at all. I love my friends. I adore them. But I think I just become so engulfed in my relationship that I throw myself into that. So when something like this happens, you know, someone's unfaithful and it just kind of drops off the face of the earth and you don't see them again, I didn't know what to do with myself. I said, okay, I don't have any home base to come back to. I really can't explain enough how important it is to have a support system, especially if you're struggling with mental health. Having people to talk to is the greatest cure for me. I think it is for a lot of people. It's hard though because these things are scary to talk about. It's scary to admit it. And it's also sometimes hard to know what's going on. You know, there's no blood tests you can take to tell you have anxiety and depression. You kind of have to discover it on your own. And that's why I'm talking about this, is because there aren't books that explain if you're having blah, blah, blah symptoms, this is what's wrong with you, because people suffer in things in very, very different ways. And it's hard to not know what's going on with you and to have to discover that on your own. It takes a lot of self-assurance and confidence in yourself to accept, yeah, there's something wrong and there's something going on and I'm okay with it and I'm gonna work through it. For me, anxiety has been my body's way of telling me something's wrong. And I wish I listened to that more. I wish I trusted myself more to know that from the get-go when I started feeling anxious, when I started having that tight feeling in my chest, I go, okay, let's take a step back, let's figure out what's going on and work forward from that. I guess I wanna end talking about anxiety, depression. I mean, it all ties into what happened with me in my relationship, but I really wanna end it with really, really pushing that you're not alone in what you're going through. Sometimes it's scary to talk to your friends about what you're going through, but I can promise you at least one of them is going through a similar thing. Especially at my age, I'm 25, it's a really scary time in your life where you're becoming an adult and having to face reality, and it's pretty overwhelming. A lot of us are struggling with anxiety and depression. It's, I hate to say it, pretty normal nowadays. I don't know if I want to use the word normal, but it happens. Talk to people, talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to whoever you feel comfortable talking to. It's helped me so much. It's helped me so much being more open. And I really, really think it will help you too. Okay. I've kind of gone back and forth about how in depth I want to go into talking about what happened in my relationship. I don't really want to go into the details about specifically what happened. I really want to focus on what it's felt like after and what I've learned about myself through all of this. I didn't know what it felt like to be cheated on. I had no idea what I was going to feel, and it was pretty overwhelming what I did feel and am still feeling now. And I wish I had known. I wish I could have prepared myself. So that's why I'm here. And I hope this can help someone, and I hope this helps reassure someone that it's gonna get better. Ooh, baby. I had been dating my boyfriend for about 6 months. We had done the show I did last year together and became really, really good friends through it. The night we got together was kind of the starting point of everything, and we just went from there and kind of just fast forwarded through a lot of stuff, and I fell in love with him very quickly. For what I thought or knew, he had fallen in love with me quickly as well. So what happened was a pretty big blow to me. He went away to do a show, and basically started sleeping with this girl 2 weeks in. I found out the night he got home from the show, 3 days before we were supposed to be going back to my home in California together to meet my family. I found it through a letter that she had written to him, and it was horrifying. It's hard to explain what went through my mind in that moment. I guess just pure shock. I remember just running. I remember finding the letter, dropping it, not knowing what to do myself, grabbing my stuff, and just getting the fuck out of there. And I just ran. I called anyone I knew who was close enough to me. I ran to one of my really good friends' houses and didn't cry until I saw her. I didn't feel any emotion until I saw her about 45 minutes later after I saw the letter. I want to preface this with saying that To my knowledge, from what the other woman told me, was that she thought we were on a break or broken up the entire time. I had a conversation with her a few days after I found out, which was really hard. It's really hard figuring out the horrible things that were said about me from him, the lies that he told me, the lies that he told her, the fact that he manipulated both of us and manipulated other people that weren't even directly involved. I mean, nothing can prepare you for how you're gonna feel. The first 3 months of our relationship were incredible. And when I say incredible, I mean incredible. He made himself out to be one of the greatest guys I've ever met. I really felt great about myself when I was with this person. There was a night that he had left and I started crying because I didn't think I deserved the amount of affection he was giving me. We were just having fun and it felt really good, and I really thought, God, this could be someone I'm with for a long time. I really like who I am with them. Starting around the 3-month mark, we started having little fights about my feelings not feeling heard. Does that sound right? I don't know, we're gonna roll with it. It would just be small things, and I would stick up for myself of basically coming from a point of it didn't feel good when that happened. Never once did I go, you're wrong that you did this. I think that's something I really learned over time. You never want to blame the other person because everyone's feelings are valid. So I always try to come from a perspective of it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to me when this type of stuff happens. And not once through any fight did he take a step back and go, you know what, you're right, I'm sorry. I couldn't see that from your perspective, but I understand it now, and I'm sorry it felt that way, and I'm sorry I did that. It was always I'm sorry you feel that way. It was never accepting that he was wrong, which makes a lot of sense now. Basically, he left for the show, and we talked every day, and things were wonderful and amazing, and he came back the first night, and we got in a little fight again because I didn't feel heard or seen, and I didn't feel like my feelings were taken into consideration, and it turned into this huge thing because he didn't accept that he could be in the wrong ever, which is something he knows about himself now too, and I hope he actually acknowledges that. And from that point forward, every time he'd come home, things felt weird and things felt strange, and I found out it's because he was cheating on me. I had no idea until I found out there was another girl maybe in the picture that he just kept saying it was his friend. There was a night that he wasn't responding to me, and I remembered I had him on Find My Friends because I was nervous about where he was and if he was okay, and I saw him at a hotel. And my first instinct was something's wrong. But immediately I went, no, I'm crazy for thinking that. He'd never do that to me. A lot of what I felt was that I was crazy. I felt like I was being a crazy girlfriend. I felt like I was being clingy. I felt like I was being overbearing, and I was pushing him away. I was right in every single thing that I was feeling, and I wish I had trusted my intuition. I believe that a woman's intuition is one of the strongest things in the entire world. And I have had a pretty strong intuition for my entire life. And for the most part, I think 99% of the time, it's never been wrong. The only reason I didn't trust it in this situation is because he manipulated me. He manipulated me to think I was the person causing the fights and the tension and everything wrong in our relationship. One of the last conversations that we had was me talking about a dream I had had about him cheating on me. And I asked him if there was anything going on with this other woman, and he said no. And the sentence he kept repeating was, what have I done to not make you trust me? It's crazy, repeating it back now because it's so clear to me. It's so clear what he was doing, but I was so wrapped up in him and I was so in love with him that I continued to believe it was my fault. Cheating isn't a mistake, it's a choice. This situation could have been easily avoided if he had just been honest with me. I never want to be the person to hold someone back from wanting to do what they really truly feel is right. I wish my boyfriend had been honest with me about him having feelings for this other girl. I mean, my first reaction when I saw that letter, the first thing that popped into my head was, one, I wish I didn't find this. And two, what did I do to cause this? If you are feeling inclined to be with someone else when you're already in a relationship, I beg of you, tell your partner. If you love them, you'll tell them. Temptation is natural, especially in the career that I'm in. You're in a little euphoric bubble. It's happened to me when I've been seeing other people. Doesn't mean I acted on it, but it happens. And it's okay. Don't feel guilty about it. But talk to your partner. But I really, really do beg of you, don't cheat on your partner. It is one of the worst feelings, if not the worst feeling I've ever felt. Thinking that someone loves you and wants to be with you, and then having this happen has thrown me through such a loop. And I think the worst thing is that I hate what he did to me, but I still have to love him through this because I can't turn off my feelings. I was incredibly, incredibly in love with this person when I found out, because I put so much time and energy into making this relationship work because I knew or thought that it could. Not feeling special is the worst feeling in the entire world for me. I seek a lot of validation in my life. I've struggled with feeling validated with men. The first thing this person said to me in our relationship was, don't cheat on me. So sometimes it's hard to know what you're getting yourself into. I think the thing that makes me most sad is that in some alternate universe, if he came running to my door begging on his hands and knees for me back, my first instinct wouldn't be to say no. Because I'm still so in the mindset of loving him. And I'm in the mindset of missing our relationship. What happened to me was horrendous. What he said about me was horrendous. But he had also told me that I was the person he'd been waiting for. So I thought I was different. It's really hard when you have trust issues in the first place and then stuff like this happens, because it just pushes me further and further into a hole and not want to open myself up again. He also just pushed me further into my depression, which I also didn't realize until now. You should be with someone that makes you happy and makes you a better person. I was just blinded by him. What I'm trying to take from this, and what I hope other people try to take from this who have gone through a similar thing or are going through it, is that you are worth all of the love that you give. Never, never doubt your self-worth. That is so important. I did it. I always do it. I will probably continue doing it. Excuse you. Because that's what I've done for so long, and I think I've trained myself into thinking that I'm not worthy of people's love. Trust yourself and trust your instincts and intuition. They are so strong. If you sense something's wrong, something is probably wrong, and stand up for yourself. Your feelings are so valid. Never doubt that. Never have anyone else make you feel like they aren't. I've learned how many more people love me than he ever did. Through this experience, I've learned I've had a bigger support system than I ever gave myself credit for. Finding out that he'd done this to other women was probably the most helpful and most hurtful thing that I heard through all of this. I'm really grateful that I found out, but it made me know it wasn't me. It was nothing that I did. It's something wrong with him and a lot of issues that he has to deal with, and he knows that. But also, again, knowing you weren't the special person is really hard. I was so used to having him be that person in my life that I turned to when I was going through hard times. But it's become very clear to me that he doesn't care about me. I wasn't anything special. He hasn't tried to contact me once through all of this. It's been me reaching out to him. That says something. I'm having some really great days. I'm having some really hard days. But I'm not crying every night, and that's a big achievement for me. I really hope that someone has learned something from this, whether you're struggling with anxiety and depression, or having someone be unfaithful to you, or just being in a bad relationship where you're being manipulated. I hope this helps. I hope it's also helped you realize that talking about it is good and healthy. I don't know what I'm gonna do moving forward. I've submitted myself for more auditions than I have since being with him after all of this. I've seen my friends more than I have in months combined. I applied for new jobs. I applied for agents. I reached out to people that I thought could give me advice moving forward in this career. I've joined dating apps, which is terrifying for me and I hate it, but we're doing it. So we're getting there. And I'm gonna be honest with myself about what I'm ready to do and what I'm not ready to do. But for the most part, I'm feeling motivated. And I've realized how strong I am and that I'm worth so much more than I gave myself credit for. I think that's everything I wanted to say. If you need someone to talk to, please reach out to me, even if I don't know you. Again, I can't push how much talking to someone helped me. But yeah, this feels good. This feels good to talk about. I feel good in this. I was really going back and forth on making this, and I'm glad I did. Be honest with yourself, be open with yourself, trust that you're worth so much. And I think that's it. Have a really great day. I think I'm gonna try to make more of these, maybe just talking about things that we're too nervous to talk about because we're scared. And we totally have a right to be, but it's helped me. And I hope it helps you too. Have a good day. Bye. How do you turn it off? Okay, cool.